Hello and welcome to the Pro Tour Top 8 San Juan 2010 Draft. I'm your host Rich Hagan together with Brian David Marshall, the Pro Tour statistician. The draft is about to begin and we are going to focus on Paulo Vitor Dama de Rosa of Brazil from Porto Alegre. He is sitting nice and calm, getting ready to open the packs. The players are seated. There you see Paulo on your screen, one of the 3 Channel Fireball members of this Top 8, along with Josh Utter-Layton and Brad Nelson, Paulo just getting ready for the first pick of the draft, and we cannot wait to see what we are going to find in these packs. BDM, do you have any idea what Paulo would love to open? Gideon Jura or something?
No, Paulo is pretty definitive that his strategy coming into this draft is he really wanted to be what he called Grixis.
Okay.
So he just said the blue, the black, and the red cards are better than everything else. They're so much better. He's like, I want removal, I want counter spells, and I want mnemonic walls to bring whichever one is most appropriate to bring back to my hand.
Okay.
And he doesn't really care about his creatures very much. He said any creature is going to kill them if you kill all of their creatures. And so that's his philosophy. He certainly does not want white. Talking to a number of the players in the top 8, white seems to be the consensus quote-unquote worst color. He just said all the other colors are good. I don't really want to be white. He's perfectly willing to be green X if need be.
Sure.
He's really hoping to open up, good removal, good, a couple creatures and some card draw.
Okay, now you can see on the table there, Paulo is in seat 4. He will be passing to his left to Brad Nelson in 5. Then in the green shirt you have Noah Schwartz. There's Kotaro Otsuka on your screen in seat 7 next to Noah Schwartz. Further round in seat 8 will be Josh Utter-Layton. There's Paulo back in seat 4. And it looks like we are getting ready for the first pack of the draft. And Paulo is looking. So let us see what he is looking at. There is a Surikar Spellblade there in the rare slot, Guard Gomazoa, Merfolk Sky Scout, that looks like, Raid Bombardment going by.
Let's see a
Sporecap Spider.
Corpse Hatch in there.
Okay, so there's a nice black card to open the draft. He's got that to the front of his pack.
I don't think there's anything even close in that pack for him.
No, I don't think he'll be bothering with the Demystify just yet. So, yeah. That looks distinctly like...
He's looking at a Stagger Shock. So I guess...
yeah, that's the alternative, isn't it? Both removal, but he takes the Corpse Hatch. So pick 1 will go to Brad Nelson without a Corpse Hatch in the pack. But Stagger Shock will move. So then, coming from Andrea Giarola, the Italian, here comes pack 2. Paolo looks through this, and there's a Soulbound Guardians, Totem Guide Harpies. There's a Stagger Shock in that pack.
And a Jiraga Tree Speaker, which is a card that I know the Channel Fireball guys love. They refer to it as a Sol Ring.
Yeah, the massive leveler produces green. If you ever get it to plus 5 levels, all your elves tap for green.
I mean, you're pretty happy just leveling it once and then, having access to 5 mana on turn 3.
Apparently that's quite good. And indeed, Paolo takes the Jiraga Tree Speaker.
So he's pretty happy, while he would like to be Grixis, he's pretty happy with the green removal deck. And when you say removal, it's anything. It could be Corpse Hatch, it could be Narcolepsies, it could be Guard Duties. There's a lot of mana fixing in green, so you're able to take whatever you want. I think I saw an Induced Despair there. There's also an Artisan of Kozilek. When we did the draft tech with Brad Nelson, he talked about how good Artisan of Kozilek is.
Well, 10-9 gets something back again, Annihilate 2 for 9 mana, and 9 is kind of the new 7 in Rise of the Eldrazi.
And Artisan of Kozilek is really a green card.
That's an interesting way of putting it, for sure.
So, and what Brad was describing is that a lot of times in this deck, you'll have an Ulamog Crusher that'll come out earlier. Your opponent has to deal with it. If they don't deal with it, they're going to, die. And then you Artisan them on a following turn, get back your Crusher, and they're in a world of hurt.
So here comes pack 4. This is the pack that Guillaume Matignon opened. There's a Last Kiss at the front of the pack there, you can see.
Right to the front.
Yep, Pan and Blade, Unified Will, Kiln Fiend is there, so that's going to make someone happy because that's a definite strategy for somebody. As Paolo looks, I'm hearing, by the way, that there was a Beastbreaker of Bala Ged, just a pack back that's missing from where he took the Artisan, so it'll be interesting to see where green might be going to his right. But on we head towards pack 5. So now we're looking at what Josh has a Leighton opened up. And Hand of Emrakul, not very exciting. There's a Cadaver Imp in black.
I think there's a Mnemonic Wall in there, which is a card that both Mnemonic Wall, Seagate
There is
Oracle.
indeed, yep.
Three cards he's perfectly happy to have in this deck. I believe he's going to take the Mnemonic Wall.
Seagate Oracle that saw plenty of constructed play. Guillaume Matignon certainly played with that.
5 seconds.
And there is the Mnemonic Wall going into Paolo's. Kyle?
So he's still actually pretty well positioned to be either Grixis or Green Removals.
So,
Collect the booster.
pack number 6.
20 seconds.
Shared Discovery, Leaf Arrow, a little bit of targeted flying removal.
Distortion Strike.
Yeah, so that's getting things on the rebound. Rune Servitor, I don't think he'll be picking that anytime soon. There's Leaf Arrow, he chooses over the
5
Distortion
seconds.
Strike. Oh, yep,
Green Removal for Flyers.
absolutely. Not to be
Pick a
sniffed
card
at.
and pass the booster.
Didn't see that many games decided by Flyers just coming in, unless they were like the level of like Knight of Cliffhaven kind of guys.
Again, talking to these guys, really, it doesn't really matter what the creature is. The creature can fly, it can walk. It's not relevant. Really, the important thing for everybody is, killing everything on the other side of the board.
Okay, so there's an Essence feed at the front of the pack, so 6 casting cost drain.
Right. And more importantly, a lot of times it accelerates you to your Artisan Kozilek, it accelerates you to your, Ulamog Crusher.
Absolutely.
The three spawn tokens you get off of that are crucial. And also sometimes just buys you a couple turns of block.
Indeed. And we saw plenty of that tokens all over the place in Block Constructed. Now let's see what we've got left
Yeah,
here.
another Mnemonic Wall. And this is a card a lot of players in this top 8 were really interested in, so very surprising to see them going around this late.
5 seconds.
When talking to the different players in the top 8, multiple players cited Mnemonic Wall as a key card in the archetypes that they like to draft. So PV has to be pretty happy
Collect the booster.
at this point in
You have
pack
10
1.
seconds.
And this is his pack all the way back around, and he's got the Surakar Spellblade.
So that's get a counter with instant or sorcery, gets to deal damage to the player, equal to the number of charge counters on there.
Pick a card and pass the booster.
There you hear the judge saying, pick a card, pass the booster.
Collect the booster. You have 10 seconds.
That's an
Remember, there's a Bloodthrone Vampire. Probably take the Vampire.
Surreal Memoir still in there might be useful to somebody, as someone who's putting together the red removal kind of deck.
Sure.
The kill feed
We
and
saw,
so on.
or the deck that we saw Florian
Collect the
Koch
booster.
win
You have 5 seconds.
Leon with.
Indeed, absolutely, the kind of traditional red-black. So we're closing in on the end of pack
That
1,
it that
Repel the
betrays.
Darkness. It is an it that betrays.
It that costs a little too much.
It that costs
Collect the
12.
booster. You have 5
I mean, it does get to steal everything, potentially. It's pretty exciting if you ever get to do it.
Yeah, we're not looking for exciting in the top 8. We're looking for
Pick a
consistent.
card and pass the booster.
Indeed we are. Yeah, Hand of Emrakul, which you always see at the back end of packs.
The Inquisition of Kozilek came around
Pick a
13th.
card. Pass the last card to your neighbor.
So, that is the end of pack 1. Is Paolo going to be pretty happy with how pack 1 went? What do you reckon, Medium? Let's,
I think he's got to be pretty happy when he'd like.
so there you see Paolo sifting through his cards.
I think he'd like a little more removal to return with those Mnemonic Walls, but
So there he is, sorting it through. Now, we said that Kiln Fiend, Surreal Memory might go somewhere. Sounds to me like Brad Nelson has drafted red. Jeffrey Saron in Pro Tour London 2005 drafted nothing but red and went 3-0-3-0-3-0.
and you did see Stagger Shock go by
Indeed.
through Paolo's hands.
Put your cards down.
So it sounds like Brad Nelson to Paolo's left is going to be
before the next
the
booster,
straight
please
red
let me
deck.
remind you,
But now, of course, we
to
go
show your
back
pick
the
to
other
the
way. So
coverage.
Paolo will be passing to the young Italian Andrea Girola, and Brad will be passing to Paolo with Noah Schwartz two upstream
open
of
the second
Paolo
booster.
in
You have 35
C6.
seconds.
So here goes Paolo looking at the new pack. That looks like an Awakening Zone as the rare. It is indeed. And some people have been saying that's possibly the best card in the entire format, pretty much, for draft. Which also looks like an Ulamog's Crusher that he's brought to the front, the 8/8 Must attack every turn.
Yeah,
Oh no,
single.
what a drawback.
Single Boar Umbra, a Nest Invader, Growth Spasm.
Yeah, there's a Venerated Teacher in that pack as well, so if anyone's trying the blue-white level strategy, that's a card that they're going to like at some point.
It was very interesting talking to these players. I mean, if someone wants the blue-white level strategy, it should be open at this table because all the players were very, very strong about not wanting to be white.
And
They didn't want to be white, and they said, if you take a white card, it means you're going to be blue-white because that's the only color it pairs with, and I don't want to be blue-white.
And that's pretty scary because a good blue-white leveler deck is insane.
It is. It has the potential to do some pretty devastating things. It looks like is that a Vendetta that's been shuffled to the front of the pack? Oh, and a Lighthouse Chronologist.
It is a Vendetta. It is indeed a Lighthouse Chronologist. Would you like some extra turns?
I mean, I'd probably prefer the Vendetta.
I'd prefer to kill something. So let's see what he takes there. There's a Hatter Spy Patrol, another blue leveler there.
Another Ulamog Crusher.
Now that's the second Bloodthrone Vampire we've seen. If someone's going to try the old token, black token version with let's run out the Bloodthrone Vampire, that was a constructed strategy, of course, this weekend. Not necessarily an overly successful one, but it was fine.
We saw Bram Snapfingers playing Bloodthrone Vampire deep into day 2.
Indeed we did. Indeed we did.
Collect the booster, you have 30 seconds.
So that looks like another
regress,
Venerated Teacher gone by there.
It's a Growth Spasm he's looking at.
Yep.
There's a Brood Warden. Turns all your Essence Feed tokens into 2/2s, all your Awakening Zone tokens into 2/2s.
Yeah, and it's one of those kill me now cards, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
you sit there looking at all these 0-1s and suddenly, oh, we're all 2/2, there's 6 of them, 12. Thank you very much.
He's trying to remember how many tokens he has in his stack there. He's like, do I have enough?
Yes, I had a Corpse
Will I
Hatch,
get
and
more?
I had Essence Feed.
And that's what he's taking.
Yep, he takes the Brood Warden, the 4. And the thing is, Brood
Pick a card
Warden,
and
if it was
pass it.
vanilla, it would be perfectly acceptable as
Sure.
a 4/4 for 5.
Yeah.
It would still be like, yeah, I'm a big guy, I'm green.
Yeah, I mean, you see people play the 3/5 for 5. Just
Done
like
Nima
the
Silk.
booster?
I mean,
Silk
they're not happy about
No,
it.
I was going to say. Talking of 3/5, there's the other way round, 5/3
There's a,
Stomper card.
there's a Skittering Invasion and a Dread Drone. Both those cards become much better with a Brood Warden in your deck.
Yep. Traitorous Instinct was in that pack, I believe. I wonder
I think he's going to
whether...
take the Dread Drone here.
Yep, so let's have some more tokens for 1.
5
And a good
seconds.
4/1 body that can serve as a removal spell.
Apparently the rare in that pack was Pestilence
card and
Demon,
pass the booster.
7/6 flyer. But that's a bit of a commitment. So,
Collect the booster. You
collect
have
the booster.
25 seconds.
25 seconds for Pala to
So
make his
Nest
next
Invader
move.
looks like a likely pick here. No, there's a
Dreamstone
Hedron.
Hedron. So 6 casting cost, you can get 3 mana out of it, or you can draw some cards. Harmless Assault going by. Want another Leaf Arrow?
Oh, wait. Nest Invader's gotten into the fray here.
Yep,
5 seconds.
one of those 3 will go in. I will have the mana acceleration, and I will draw 3 cards at some
Pick a
point.
card.
He's got a couple of Eldrazi that he wants to be able to cast. There's a lot of good cards in his deck that he wants to get to.
Collect the booster. You have 20 seconds.
Praise Vengeance in green.
Zula, Port Enforcer, Spore Cap Spider.
Yeah, so the 1/5 reach. As he flicks through one of the white umbras.
5 seconds.
Looks like another Leaf Arrow.
Yep.
It is indeed.
Like,
He
why-
really doesn't want to
Pick
get
a
beaten
card
by
and pass
flyers.
the booster.
He had 2 options there. You could block him or kill him.
Yep.
Collect the booster. You have 20 seconds.
And what does he do here? Looks like
Is that the Green Invoker? Yes, it is.
Wild Heart Invoker.
Wild Heart Invoker. Really
4
solid body.
Again, without the ability, 4/3, but then I'd like to
4/3
give
for
you
4 is perfectly fine.
+5/+5 and trample. Thank you so much. 8 is a real key number in this format because all these invokers, we got Dawnglare Invoker floating around saying, you know what, let's just win.
And that's why a card like the Dreamstone Hedron is so important.
Yes.
Collect the booster. You have 15 seconds.
There's a Nest Invader, a Pawn of Ulamog, a Hand of Emrakul. Oh, and is that that's the Nimana.
Indeed it is. The Nakana Revenant.
Nikana Revenant. That card is
Potentially
pretty
very
good-
foolish.
Pretty good and
Pick a
going
card and
pretty
pass the
late
booster.
here, considering
Yeah.
there was a Pestilence Demon somewhere picked prior to it.
Yeah, 4/4 for 4 black.
Collect the booster.
Black is
Yeah,
pump,
10
but
seconds.
every swamp you tap, you get 2 black mana out of it. So it's on steroids, the Revenant.
5 seconds.
Glory Seeker, the most put upon card in the set.
You know, I saw
Pick a card and pass the booster.
Cedric Phillips in a draft with 3 Glory Seekers. He also had 3 Boar Umbras.
Collect the booster.
Yeah,
You have
indeed.
10 seconds.
To make them the right size for
Right.
Rise of the Eldrazi.
There's a Cutthroat.
Looks like
5
Cutthroat, the
seconds.
Black Leveler.
how's it?
Comes down as a 1/1, and for
Null-
3 mana. Or was that the Null Champion?
I
Null
think
Champion.
it was the
Yeah.
Null
And
Champion
pass the
going
Yeah,
by.
for 3 mana becomes a 4/2.
Yep. And then eventually
Collect the booster.
7/3
You have 5
regenerator.
seconds.
Skeletal Worm, 7/6 regenerator.
Apprentice Eldrazi.
Yeah,
Pick a card. pass
Eldrazi
the
and
booster.
waiting. And so we're closing in on the
Collect
end
the
of
booster. You have
pack
5
2.
This pack seemed to go phenomenally well for him.
Yep, Repel the Darkness, so Soul's Attendant
Pick a card
and Eland
and
Umbra
pass the
will be
booster.
going by. Eland Umbra pretty much always the
Collect
last
the
card
booster.
out of a
You have
pack.
5 seconds.
Harmless Assault will be the last card passed
Pick a
on
card
by.
and
So we
pass the last
have
card.
2 packs gone, 1 pack still to go. And they get a little bit longer to look at their decks
45
now in the
seconds.
review period. We'll try and find out how Brad is going next door as Paolo sorts through his cards. So he got the Awakening Zone, he got Vendetta, he got Wild Heart Invoker.
I think this deck looks phenomenal to me. This looks like kind of deck that you could break a quarterfinal losing streak with.
Yeah, and maybe even go all the way. We will see, because we will be starting with Paolo Vida Dama de Rosa's quarterfinal. He will be playing Josh Utter Layton, remember, 4 seats round. They all play opposite each other, so 4 seats round will be the quarterfinal matchups. That means Brad Nelson faces Guillaume Matignon, and so on. So Paolo looking at
Is he
his...
counting the mnemonic walls as being
5
in his
seconds.
list? I'm curious, or is he just going to be green-black?
Well,
Put your cards down.
we will find out as we head
It's looking
in.
like he sees the deck being right now just green-black. Mm-hmm. It was interesting. I was talking to him about
Open the last booster.
splashing multiple. He likes to be 3 or
Well,
4 colors in
40
his
seconds.
format.
Yep.
And he said he wasn't actually that worried about mana fixing. He was pretty happy to have. As I say that, an Omni Giant goes right to the front of the pack. He said he was perfectly happy to play a slow deck with lots of removal, 18 lands, and just sort of let his removal do his mana fixing.
Yep, absolutely. There's a Gloom Hunter, the 2/1 flyer in black. As you say, the Ondu Giant goes to the front of the pack. The rare there was Keening Stone, the sort of multiplying up mill effect. But no sign of that. It looks like the Ondu Giant is going to go into his pile. Frostwind Invoker in blue.
It's also a prophetic prism. If he wasn't green, probably if he was on the
5
Grixis
seconds.
plan here, he might have taken that in this situation.
So
Pick a card and pass the booster.
another nice green card goes into the pile. And he will go search out a land when that comes into play, the 2/4. Again, so many of these green cards have serviceable
Collect the
bodies
booster.
even
You have
without their
35
abilities. So what have we got here?
Is that a cryptologist?
There is an
A
Enclave
Halimar Wave Watcher,
Cryptologist.
Knight of Cliffhaven? Oh,
Yeah,
these
it's
guys
the-
are killing me.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you're a bit of a fan of the whole blue-white affair, right?
I love the blue-white leveler deck. I mean, and I love it especially more now that people don't seem to like it as much.
So Paolo is flicking between Naturalize, Utility, and Arrogant Bloodlord, the 4/4 for just 3 mana. Thing is, as soon as there's a little token on the other side, it just sort of runs away and hides.
Well, I mean, it still blocks very, very well, which I think
Yeah.
is something that a lot of people have missed in their analysis of that card.
Sure.
It's a perfectly serviceable guy to
Pick a
sort of
card
slow
and
the
pass the
game
booster.
down.
Yep. And in the event that you get it down early, well, thanks very much.
Yeah.
4, 4,
Yeah,
4.
and again, remember, we with removal, you're just clearing the path for it
Collect the booster.
sometimes.
You have 30 seconds.
I believe
Yeah, that looks like a
there
vendetta.
is a Vendetta and a Mortician Beetle. Is that
It
there?
looks like a vendetta and about 10 rules tip cards, and that's what Paulo's seeing right there.
Yeah. And I think he can do without the rules tips. I believe there is a Kiln Fiend still in there, and if Brad Nelson, sitting on his left, has gone the mono-red route, he will be very interested to see that.
Yep, there is a killing fiend.
5 seconds.
Now, I'm hearing that in the next
card and
pack,
pass the booster.
there was a Transcendent Master. That's a bit of a spell.
One of the cards that Guillaume Matignon
Collect the
said he did
booster.
not want to
Yeah.
open in this
25
draft. He
seconds.
said there's 4 cards he definitely did not want to open. He did not want to open Gideon. He did not want to open Transcendent Master. He did not want to open Lindvana.
Deathless
And he
Angel.
did not want to open Deathless Angel
Yeah.
because that would mean he'd have to play white. And he didn't want to do that.
Yeah, I believe in his first draft of the weekend, he went open Eldrazi Conscription, take it, get past Eldrazi Conscription, take it,
5
get past
seconds.
Gideon Jura, pass it on again.
Right.
He went 3-0 in that draft.
Pick a card.
We
and
just
pass
saw
the
the
booster.
2/8
Jaddy Life Strider.
Yeah, the Life Strider go into his pile.
He's got
that's
Artisan of Kozilek, hasn't it? So we can have Return of the Jaddy.
Collect the booster.
Sorry.
You have 25 seconds.
There's a Bloodthorn Vampire.
Yep. Which starts to become more interesting with all these tokens that he's got now. So.
But he's Aura Finesse snuck its way to the front for something there.
But he's still got the Bloodthorn Vampire up. Let's see whether that's what he takes.
Yeah.
There it goes.
Shows it to the people recording this draft for the draft viewer. One of the great things that you guys can do at home is a little while after this draft is completed, all these picks are going to be entered into the draft viewer. And you are going to be able to sit down in any seat. You could say, what would I have drafted in Brad Nelson's seat? Or what the hell did Brad Nelson draft? Because we were watching Paulo. So you can go and sit down in any of these seats and sort of watch the decision-making process as these guys go through their packs.
So there's a Daggerback Basilisk in green there.
There's also a Pawn of Ulamog, which is
Yep.
a fun little card with the Bloodthorn Vampire.
Indeed. And it looks like that's what Paolo's going to do. Somewhere, in addition to that Pestilence Demon that we talked about in black, and the Nakana Revenant in black, there is a Draenor Calastria Bloodchief in black. Somebody has that. Where did that go? We will find out after the draft. Sphinx Bone 1 there, the artifact at the back end. That's a card that turns out to be an archetype. That's a bit counterintuitive, that you can actually build a deck around that thing in draft.
5 seconds.
I certainly saw Mike Jacob in a team draft
Over
over the weekend playing with that.
We saw our own Bill Stark draft that in a coverage draft.
Yep.
He was very, very excited about that card.
Yeah.
Collect the booster. You have 15 seconds.
So we're closing in on the end of the draft. And if you're new to us, of course, what's going to happen then is the players will go away for 30 minutes. That's how long they have to build their decks. Of course, most of them will be building it in their heads as they go. All the best players are effectively filling up their 22, 23, 24 slots.
They're just going to record their decks.
That's one way of looking at it. Except the ones who had a train wreck, and they're going to try and build.
So we were talking about draft archetypes. It's sounding like that the draft archetype that Brad Nelson is putting together to the, one side of Paulo is actually an interesting one. It's a token-generating Raid Bombardment deck. Raid Bombardment's a card that a lot of people didn't pay attention to when the set first came out. It's an enchantment. It says whenever a creature with power 2 or less attacks,
you get to deal
1 damage to target player. So, it can, skitter invasion and dread drones and, Emerald's Hatchers, suddenly those spawn tokens.
I'll do the last half dozen points of damage in one swoop.
Yeah, they have a fireball effect.
Absolutely.
Collect the booster. You have 5 seconds.
So,
there's a late kiln fiend that
which Paolo will take
Paulo says
away.
no more shall pass.
Yeah, not for you, Mr. Nelson, when we meet in the final.
Collect the booster. You have 5 seconds.
I mean, these guys are in opposite brackets. It is possible to see a Channel Fireball final here.
It is. We cannot see, though, a repeat of Houston, of course, because the pairings have ended up with Paolo up against Josh. So one Channel Fireball will be gone. Incidentally, David Ochoa very nearly made it half the top 8 for Channel Fireball. He finished 12th.
Yeah, he was on tiebreakers.
That's right. He was in the virtual top 8, as we call it. And a word also for Andres Suarez of the United States. He was the man who finished 9th. And as he said, I don't like Channel Fireball. Brad Nelson was half my 4 losses on the weekend.
No shame in that.
No. I mean, Brad's not shabby. So there are the players. They're being taken away, sequestered away in private to build their decks. What we're going to do is go and have a look at all 8 decks, and we will be back in about half an hour with that. Now, so BDM, how did that go? There are the 8 chairs. We will not draft again. The last draft of Proto San Juan is done, and so how did that go for Paolo?
I think that went very well for Paulo. Looks like he's got a fair amount of removal. He's got the mana fixing he wanted. He's got some good creatures. He's got plenty of token generation. He's got Bloodthorn Vampires. He's got good guys. He's got mnemonic walls if he wants to go that direction. I think he should be very happy with that draft. And he was very cooperative with his neighbor. It sounds like he and Brad settled into a place where they weren't fighting too much. We saw Paulo sort of yoink a kiln fiend there at the end, just kind of like, I'm not letting anyone, I don't know who's getting this card 13th pick, but I'm not going to let that happen.
Yeah, I will be very interested to see where the crazy black rares have ended up. If anyone has been bold enough to go, well, I'd like that Pestilence Demon, I'd like that Nakana Revenant, I would like the Calastria Bloodchief. because that is a phenomenal card.
That's not. That's a stupid card.
Yeah.
I have nightmares about playing against that card.
When you lose to that, you go away and they say, how do you get on? It's like, it was just stupid. Yeah, so that is the draft of Proto San Juan out of the way. Paolo will go and build his deck. So will the 7 others who have 30 minutes to put together 40 cards for $40,000. And that means you have 30 minutes to wait before those quarterfinals. We will see you back here in 30, and that is pretty much it from Pro Tour San Juan. So we'll see you in 30 minutes time.